Ho ho! You don't have to sell your soul to make a living from your soul. Me with the intro. Now, this comes off of the idea that a lot of guys have about effort and very common sentiment that you have to work hard for things. And I, personally, don't consider myself a very hard worker. If we're going by way of fruits and what you can see from the fruits of labours and the way people live life, the fruits that I have borne from working hard are minuscule compared to those that have been born from letting it come easily and allowing yourself to receive. It's this idea of we don't achieve, we receive, because we receive God's blessings through stepping into His calling for us, and as a result of that, we're able to do much, much more than we can force or try to make happen ourselves. And I get it. It's a common sentiment. It's a common sentiment of the world. A religious sentiment as well, that we have to work hard in order to achieve something. Especially, I find, as men, it's this idea of work hard, push, otherwise you don't deserve it. You don't deserve any success. Who are you without that? And I used to say the same thing as well, but I've definitely found that the best stuff has actually happened, even if we're looking at business, for example, or life, relationships. That stuff has all come best when I've been able to allow it to happen. And I was talking with a new client today in the sauna just before this about how it's like the idea of catching butterflies. If you were to catch or have as many butterflies as possible, my guy in Kaey says, yep. If you were to catch as many butterflies as possible, or have as many butterflies as possible, on one hand, you could go out with a jar, try to catch them in a jar, hold them in the jar, keep them there, force them, feed them and all that. On another, you could get a net, cast the net, try catch as many butterflies as you can that way, put them in jars, you have more. But on the other hand, how many hands does this guy have? 3 hands. You could build a garden, and then the butterflies will come to the garden, and you don't even have to tend to the butterflies. You don't have to preserve their life or anything necessarily. They'll want to be there. You don't have to force them to stay there. You'll have way more butterflies, and you don't even have to worry about necessarily keeping them alive. That last one is the idea of, or the principle of, allowing and building yourself. Which, again, the first two are more the hard work, but again, you can also try work really, really hard to develop yourself. All this self-development stuff that people talk about nowadays, those buzzwords, very common. But I found that the best stuff happens freely, easily, in flow and in motion. If we relate it to sparring, and that it's like when you try force shots, they don't work. To our bodies, if you try to force a fart, it tends to be poop. And it's like this idea of the man who needs a relationship never gets. The man who needs clients never gets. He never receives, because there's so much resistance that creates the persistence of that thing being the case. So it's even with my relationship with my wife, it was very easy. It just came to me very seamlessly. I just focused on developing myself in a way that I found was very easy and seamless, and it felt that way. And then as a result of that, my wife came along in exactly the way God had put on my heart and I had intended, and our marriage is very easy. It's very smooth sailing. I know a lot of people you can have a hard relationship if you want. You can really fight with each other, do this thing, or you could see it as you're a team and you build this stuff together, and God allows it to happen. When you allow it to happen through God, it's so seamless, so natural, so easy that it's almost ridiculous. If we look at business, the times my business has done the best have always been there's been the most abundance of money, inflow, ease of clients, and results for clients. That's always been easy when I've allowed myself to let go of the outcomes. It's you set the intention because God gives them to you, but you let go of the outcomes and the timeline for that. You're not this has to happen by this time. Well, you can do that. That happens. That's Sup in K. Damn, bro, that's amazing sounding. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. It is. It's amazing to be able to receive. Do that. Even if you think about our bodies, breathing is easy. It's natural. You don't have to think about it. It's just who we are to breathe. And it's very natural. It's very fun. Well, I mean, we can be grateful for it. And there's a lot of power to that and being able to sit within that. So, yeah, even within the context of business, I mean, a great story that I have that I'm very blessed to have received, like my wife and I set the intention to, when we first got into business, sat at a gym cafe together and we wrote out his roughly 1 year goal, or like 1 6-month goal, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year. And the stuff that we set for like within the 5 years, one of them was like, because we just asked God, like, what do you put on our hearts? It's like, become millionaires, make this and that. And it was one of the intentions, and we just let go of the timeline, being like, it doesn't have to take 4 or 5 years. If it comes sooner, it comes sooner. And then came within 14 months of that meeting, and it was like, whoa, very cool to be able to receive that stuff. But again, it's not like we don't set the intention. We set the intention, and then we allow ourselves to receive that by detaching from the timeline. And when you can detach from the timeline and the outcome happening a certain way, then those are always the people that have the results come the fastest. And it's like we talked about before, the man who needs doesn't get. So if you need results to come fast, they normally don't come very fast. I mean, they can to a degree. If you put in heaps of effort, heaps of work, you can do that too sometimes. But the people that, even if you were like fat loss, for example, the people that have faster fat loss results, and as well from my experience as a fitness coach and personal trainer, online coach, all that stuff, it's always the guys that adopt the identity and they just allow it to happen. They just show up as the thing, as if the thing is already done, and it happens, and it is so, and it's fantastic. All right, my guy Suppin cases again. Yeah, man, stay true to yourself. I just started following in as I saw your reel. We both kind of have a holistic approach to this. You might have thought about it a lot more though, lol. Dude, that's awesome, bro. Like, maybe a little more experience with it potentially, but definitely a cool thing to be able to experience. I'm really glad to hear. And yeah, I consider it a pretty holistic approach to all of these things, because it all comes together. It's staying true to yourself, because when the more you can dig into that authenticity, the more things just fall into place naturally, I found. Because I've been putting it this way recently, at our very core, I'll do it this way, get my arms out the water. At our very core of who we are is who we are, who God's created us to be. Above that are core beliefs or core values, core beliefs that a lot of the time the things that are spoken over us as we grow up. And then above that are just like day-to-day beliefs, and then from that are our feelings, our thoughts, our actions, and above that are our outcomes. And we're going up in layers from that. And a lot of us really focus on the actions, the thoughts, maybe the feelings, or we focus just on the outcomes. But when you just focus on those things, if you don't address the core things going on, when you solve one of those things, or one of those comes to be so, just the next thing takes its place. And it's not as fulfilling as when you address something deeper down. It can affect hundreds of things above it, all of the layers above it, without having to like consciously try and have that effort. So it's almost, well, I do find that it's like our life's work a lot of the time is stripping away all of the core beliefs that aren't really ours, and getting back to who we are, who God made us to be. And that is the ultimate form of authenticity. And in staying true to yourself in that regard, everything just flows so much more easily, naturally, and it's so much more joyful. And you don't have to sell your soul for it, because it's like the common thing is money. Like, even today, it's like a common theme amongst people is money. Oh, I can't afford this and that. Being worried about money is like, that's the things you're worrying about, something external instead of the internal. Because God, it says in the Bible, worry not about tomorrow, about tomorrow's troubles. Everything's taken care of. We're clothed, we're fed. The birds have somewhere to rest, and the fields are taken care of. We've always been provided for, and we always will be until we're not, and then we don't have to worry about it. But as a result of that, we don't have to worry about money. day to day. And don't get me wrong, I've gotten caught up in it. I've been stressed about money before. How am I going to pay the rent? How this? But then when you can let go of that stuff, you allow stuff to flow in and have that there, and you can be the most authentic version of yourself. And everything just flows really naturally from there. And it's like not letting money be the thing that you're working for. It's God that we're serving and working for, and delighting in the labors he gives to us. So yeah, when you're able to do that, even by way of that, like the gentleman that just signed up and worked with, I won't say his name, but he's an absolute legend, just started working with me, and it's like just very seamless. Even the way he came to me was like very seamless, natural. Met in a sauna, talked, done some gym, did a gym session together, and just like, hey, let's do this work together on this stuff, detached from the outcomes. And he's like someone that, like the last couple of guys that I've signed up with in particular for this offer that I'm running now, they're just the type of guys where it's like they've just come to me and they've wanted what I have to offer, and it's been very seamless, and it's just so natural. And they're great clients to have, and I love working with them, being around them. It's just those kind of experiences and conversations where time just fades away. It's instantaneous and infinite at the same time. Yeah, and it's just a phenomenal thing to be around guys like that, and to cultivate that, and to see them make these leaps and bounds themselves. Like, it's like going for it, even not allowing money to restrict the way that they want to live, because a lot of the time we're restricted by that stuff. And these guys, like, even being honest, like $10,000-$11,000 coaching things that they've signed up to, because I like being honest about that stuff and open about it, and they've done it like, yeah, cool, let's do it. Like, stepping into those things with full faith, I have a lot of admiration for, and it's like being the truest version of themselves that is called for those things and wants that life for themselves, and not being like, oh, I'm gonna make my decisions based on money, because then it's like, do you have money or does money have you? And when you make those decisions, it's like, it might seem like, oh, I'm not able to handle this and all that, but then it's like it always works out. And one way where you're chasing the money keeps you chasing the money, but one way you allow the money to chase you, that works out even better. That's a life to live. Anyway, I think I've been in here for a while now. It's been longer than a couple minutes. I'm starting to get kind of cold. But yeah, this is fun. Remember, this is all the art of being man. Embody that, and it'll be all gravy, baby. Catch you guys on the flippity flip, and stay authentic, stay true to yourself, follow God. This is all the art of being man. Keep it all gravy, baby. Dunk the head under. Let's go.